Good evening, guys, and welcome to Beauty and Gratitude. Thank you for joining me this Friday. And it's been an interesting week, and we have more interesting weeks to come, of course. But as you know, I focus mostly on gratitude and beauty. And my guests tonight they're really people that I admire and love, influencers in their perspective fields, from celebrity makeup artist Sam Fine to the talented fashion designer, production designer, and just overall entrepreneur Ericka, and then the talented booking agent and agent Fred Howard. He also works in PR. So we have a lot of great information to share with you. And remember, everything's centered around gratitude. So often, every morning I wake up and I say 10 to 20 things, or write down 10 to 20 things I'm grateful for, which actually inspired a book, 100 Days of Gratitude. So we now have a shop on solidity.com. You can find my book there and some other goodies as well. Some makeup companies that we like. They're slowly trickling in companies and fashion brands that we love. So just stay tuned. I know the holidays are coming up, so you'll have options to go to our shop on solidity.com. So there's a lot we have to talk about, so I don't have too much of an intro. I want to welcome our guest, Sam Fine. Thank you very much.
What's up, Dee? How are you?
Hey, how are you?
And to Ericka and Fred and Brian, what's up, y'all?
Hey, everyone.
Well, Sam, you are a celebrity makeup artist, and you've been in this industry for over 30 years. Am I correct?
Correct. I turned 50 last year, and I'm entering my 30th year. Moved to New York when I was 19, became a professional at 21, and never looked back.
Well, I know you're from Chicago originally, which actually I met you throughout our high school years. The two times in particular, I think it was a male chorus competition, because I was with Curie High School. I think you were at Julian, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yeah.
And then you also designed my best friend Felicia's prom dress. You illustrated it at the McDonald's on where?
Oh gosh. Look, I tell people all the time that when you're an artist, it comes out in every way.
Yes, it does.
When you talk about speaking in front of people, which I do a lot of education now, have a DVD, have a book, I tour a ton. Being able to project, I learned that in All City Chorus.
Yes.
I was also an illustrator. I've been drawing all my life. So that led me to become an art major, working for the school newspaper, designing prom dresses. And that also helped me to get a scholarship to the Art Institute of Chicago my junior year. So you've got to access every level of creativity, every level of talent that you have. You never know what's going to stick.
Yes, and art was always in your DNA, I would say, because music, fine art, and also makeup artistry, which serves you. Being in an industry where you're with singers, you name it, actors. And what was your first big job?
I was called at the cosmetic counter to work with Naomi Campbell. When Fran Cooper, I was assisting Fran Cooper at the time. Fran Cooper introduced me to Kevin Aquan. So I'm doing all these fashion shows. And Naomi Campbell saw me working with another model one day. And Fran just told her, Sam's amazing. And she was such a wonderful mentor and a wonderful artist to open herself and clients to me that way. And so Naomi Campbell gave me a call at the cosmetic counter and said, "Hello, Sam." I'm like, this was before cell phones, no one's texting. She gave me a call at the cosmetic counter and just booked me on a job, which was 50 Most Beautiful People.
Wow, that's amazing. Was that when she had the pink wig on?
No. That was the Vargas Girls.
Okay.
Timothy White shot. Yes, that was beautiful as well. But this was all Dolce, the rhinestone gloves, if you all remember, and the diamond bustiers and such. It was wonderful, as only Naomi can do it.
Yes, and I know you still have amazing clients, like Vanessa Williams, Queen Latifah, and the list goes on and on. How do you maintain those relationships?
The same way you maintain any relationship.
Talk to us. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, whether it is sending a note card to a friend or thinking of someone during COVID. I think COVID has pushed us into a very kind of what do you do with yourself kind of time. And for me, I knew that Vanessa Williams was doing a lot of Zoom chats on her own, doing her own hair and makeup. And I had done kits before for her before, but I took this opportunity to cull another kit together and send it to her just because I was thinking of her. I do the same for Nia Long. I did the same for Queen Latifah. I just taught one of my first classes coming out of COVID, and there was an artist in the room who had her makeup kit stolen out of her car. And so I recently sent her something yesterday.
Wow.
All of these are relationships. You manage them all the same.
Yes. You know, it's interesting you would say that, and I know that because I am big about sending thank you cards. I'm big about saying thank you. Let me take you out for drinks or dinner. That's how I say thank you. It is a dying art, however, in this industry. And can you please tell the young people out there, and not so young, how important gratitude and thank you is to establish long-term relationships?
It starts at home. I sent my mom a Bobby Brown. Yo,
Yes,
John,
yes.
Fred, Ericka, y'all know what I'm talking about.
It's real.
It starts at home. I just sent my mom some moisturizer. It's turning fall in Chicago, so I sent her some moisturizer for her hands and her face. She sent me a note card. That's what you learn it at home. And when I think of Vanessa Williams, I mean, I didn't ask her, did she need makeup? I just took it upon myself to send this box, and she sent flowers, a lovely handwritten note card. And I feel like if someone like Vanessa Williams, and not saying that she's so extra special, but she is to me, if she can take time out of her day to thank me in a handwritten note card, why can't I?
Right, right. And I've had clients myself that one producer in particular, I've worked with for over 2 decades now. I sent her a thank you card in the beginning. I sent her many things throughout the years. However, this one particular day, she was about to quit and walk out of the office. She was about to say, I'm out of here, and not look back. She said, D'Angelo, I got that card. She's like, and just one person showing me appreciation. She's like, and she stayed 15 years later, and now has moved on.
But D'Angelo, you know what I'm saying? That's what gratitude does. It's not just operating from a place of I need. No one appreciates me.
Right.
I mean, this is the universal law, right?
Right.
You give and you receive. So it doesn't always meet you in the exact same way. So I loan someone money, so I'm going to get money. It doesn't always work like that. But I have been in positions where I have received in a way like out of the sky, like, wow, where'd this check come from? Oh, I didn't know I had this left over in this pension plan, and things of that nature, because you've opened yourself to give.
Yes, and that has happened in my life so often. I was telling a young photographer that today. He's like, he had a list of his worries. I said, if you really stop worrying and just do, I said, magical things will happen. And I'm a testament of that. I can tell you story after story after story, how life unfolds for you.
Constantly putting the worst scenario in front of us.
Right.
Instead of allowing ourselves to be catapulted into where we want to be, we use that lack, that less than, that smallness to rule our lives, and it becomes a space that we are digging in which to live.
And part of the gift that you have is not only artistry, but you've shared that in your books, your DVDs, and I know you have some other projects cooking, which we won't talk about, but they're cooking, they're marinating beautifully. So that's a way of sharing too. I have your book here. I should have pulled it out. It's right behind me. Many makeup books, but yours is one of them that I hold very dear, and I think you never stop learning. I use your book, Kevin's book, many books, Scott, you name it, I can go down the list, as reference guides sometimes. I'm like, wait, how do I do that again? And I look at it. And I've been doing it 30 years as well, makeup artistry. So, I know my tricks. However, I learn from each of you. And I've learned so much from you as well, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is, what are you grateful for?
Where do you begin? I have to tell you, during COVID, you have to get quiet. I appreciate the pause, but then the pause became a stop. And then the phone started ringing, and then you were just like, wow, like it makes you remember. And that's one thing I go back to. There's so many things going on in my head. The one thing I go back to is that I've never needed for a job. I've never had to, I've never been so broke that I can't piece things together and not have hope for the next day. Even if I'm in a situation that I don't want to be, I know it won't last too long. And the situation that I'm often in is a situation that others still would love to be in. And I think it's perspective and on gratitude. They really go hand in hand. I live in Hollywood in LA, and I walk out and I see the homeless, and I'm packing up my canned goods. When they were protesting, I bought water. I think it's just so important to just kind of realize how fortunate, truly fortunate we are with what's going on in the world around us.
Yes, that's been my reminder during this time. You know me, I appreciate the quiet. I have no problem staying at home for weeks and writing and taking care of business. However, it's made me more grateful of my relationships, of looking outside of myself, and also seeing that I've never had to want for anything either. Even when I did stress about money or whatever, I was always taken care of. And I love that you said that we're always taken care of.
And I think people can mistake that as everything being okay. I'm on unemployment. I've secured a PPP loan. I have stalled many credit cards. It's not without challenges.
Yes.
But even through those, you have to know that you're still taken care of. That's what brings you through.
Yeah, and that's what faith is, right? That's what faith is. And I think we will learn the word this year.
Well, amen. Amen.
Sam, what are you working on that you would want to share for the future? What do you want to impart our viewers with?
I've been working on cosmetics for a while. That's no secret. I love education. Doing books and DVDs are wonderful, but being able to give the community the product itself. Education is so important in talking about various products, but to be able to produce a product is going to be fun. But also a book that is a retrospective of my career. I go to the bookstore and I look at, I just bought Karen Elson's book. She's a top model. I recently brought Franca Sozzani's book. I brought Tone Goodman's book, Fashion Editors at Vogue. And I still feel like on the bookshelves, our presence is absent. It's as if we didn't have these stellar careers. Freddie Lieba, Fran Cooper, oh God, what's the stylist? Patty Wilson. These amazing careers, yet when you go to the bookstore, you would think that we didn't exist. So a retrospect of my 30 years, and I keep everything. So every card that you're talking about from Vanessa, from you, every note card from editors, all my press passes, I keep everything. And so I'm looking forward to share that because I think it should live somewhere other than Instagram.
Yes, that's true. I can't wait for it. And Sam, let us know where we can reach you on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram, I am Sam Fine.
Yes, and I love you also do segments on your IG stories, which are wonderful, talking to some of the pros within the business, some of your colleagues and peers. So thank you for coming on, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you in New York too, my friend.
Very soon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Sam.
My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Soul Liberty Live. Hey, how you doing, sir? My sister, how are you?
Hey.
Just one, right? we might need some more wine for this. So, let's get this party started, y'all. Hey, my sister, mademoiselle.
That is the most amazing introduction I've ever heard.
Oh, for being here. Oh, what an amazing day. Go make it even more amazing. myself and Madison, Brian Wesley Johnson. Thank you for joining us on Saturday morning. Full of passion, purpose, and high quality living. See you next time. Watch Soulivity Live with Brian Wesley Johnson every Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Soulivity TV.
Welcome back, guys, to Beauty and Gratitude. I am excited by another Chicago native, talented designer, just overall amazing person, Ericka Mays.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Ericka. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. And I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You look great, and thank you for coming on. I wanted to talk about your career. You know, the whole purpose of this particular show is really about the journey. You know, we talked to Sam Fine earlier, and I want to talk to you as another fellow Chicago native about your journey. Let's start where you grew up in Chicago. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so I grew up in the Gresham neighborhood, Chicago, around 8200, right off Halsted Street, and
Yeah.
you know, it's like as a kid, you know, you think about like all this stuff that you've gone through, like I played in the alley, you know, because at that time, you know, it's alleys, right?
Yeah,
So,
it was safe. Yeah.
we all the kids in the neighborhood, we all got together and played in the alley, and you know, so it was a wonderful time. Those are the things that I remember as a kid, and then being bused to a school like 2 hours away in Palos Heights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was during high school time, and then 2 years later, my family moved to Rockford, Illinois, which is like 90 miles north of Chicago, and that's when I finished my high school. And right after I graduated, I got my first apartment in Chicago when I was 17.
Oh, wow, honey.
I know, right? So I had my first apartment. I was going to school at the Art Institute, but I was primarily working. I worked at, you know, waitressing. I worked at Conrad Hilton. I worked at Houston's restaurant, like those like old
The staples, yeah, Chicago staples.
Right, staples. And then I actually dropped out of the Art Institute and started working in retail. And then from there, like I was working at Paul Harris, one of those little stores back in the day. And then from there, I went to work for Neiman Marcus. And then from there, I worked for Henry Bendel when they opened up. And then that started actually my journey of moving to New York. And I'll tell you, talk about gratitude and faith. From the time that I said that I was going to move to New York, that I wanted to do it, until the time I actually moved was 6 weeks.
Wow, because everything lined up, right, for it to happen. Now, did you go right into the fashion industry from there, or?
Actually, what happened was I met Cynthia Rowley when she was doing a personal appearance at Henry Bendel.
Yes.
And I had a conversation, and this is how like things line up. So I had talked to the assistant store general manager, and she and I had become really friendly. And I said, you know what? I want to move to New York. I don't want to be in Chicago anymore. And she said, really? So it was like, okay, the next day I get called into the general manager's office.
Wow.
And I know, and I'm shaking like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And she said, I hear you want to leave us. I hear you want to move to New York. And she said, I'm going to help you.
Oh, nice. Wow.
I know, it's just like such an amazing opportunity. And then Cynthia Rowley, the next day, she was doing the trunk show. Gail Handley, who I will never forget, who is the general manager of Bendel's at that time, asked Cynthia if she needed some help. She said she did. The
Whoa.
next week, I flew out to interview. The week after that, I found out I had the job, and then I moved that following week.
Look at the universe. Wow.
That is like when you think about like how the universe works, and I'm going to say God, how God works in one's life, Allah,
Yes.
God, Yahweh. It was just amazing. And I've always felt that and always had that gratitude for that.
Yes. That's amazing. And what's beautiful is that I know from there, you were with Cynthia for a long time, right? For
It was for
over,
years.
yes. And then from there, you worked for not only private label designing, and then you went into your own brand, Ericka Mays, which is a beautiful collection, a plus size collection, one of the first.
Yeah.
And was it the first in Bloomingdale's or first in Bloomingdale's and Saks?
It was in Bloomingdale's, Saks, and then a lot of small little boutiques around the country.
Yes. Yes. And then I know personally, and I want you to share this, that you ended up, and now some of the most major designers in the world, not only within the US, but in the world, you've been in charge of their production, in charge of really seeing their vision all the way through.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you, love. And it is, it's an, I think right now, it's an interesting time because, and I'm going to segue into something else, but a lot of young designers are reaching out to me, and I see a lot of, this economy doesn't matter. The COVID doesn't matter. All that matters with them is they have a vision they want brought to life. And that is my job to do that. You know, so I just getting back to that, I retired my brands and then just started this business of consulting. And it has been very lucrative with consulting with Philip Lim and Alexander Wang and Diane von Furstenberg, Norma Kamali. Like, you know, so I have worked with a lot of people, not only established brands, but startups as well. That's been amazing. It's been
And what, you know, Ericka, what many people don't know is that there are so many people of color, women of color behind the scenes, really running things. And most people don't know because we only see the shell of things. We don't see all the layers. And I always say to people, you really need to do your research.
Absolutely.
You really need to know who's really actually teaching designers how to design a lot of times, but that's another conversation. But you know, it's so important, and I really am grateful to know you. I've known you for over 20 years, and you've been not only a dear friend but a mentor, and you've always helped me live in the power of yes. You know. Yes, I remember working.
I'm sorry, the power of yes and the power of and.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because people get so caught up in either or instead of and. You know, that little word has such power because it opens up so many opportunities there's just so much power in that word. Power of yes, absolutely, and that power of and.
The power of and. You're making me smile. I have a big smile on my face because I remember working for your cashmere line, calling clients around the country, emailing clients around the country, which is a beautiful brand. It ended up on Air Force One with the Obamas, you know, which was wonderful. And I got a call, you remember, for the Wendy Williams show. And I was like, you know, I have this opportunity, but I'm here working for you. I don't know if I should do it. You were like, boy, if you don't leave and go talk to these people. And I did. I did. And the beauty of it is, Ericka, is that had I not done that, I wouldn't have won the Emmy. A lot of things wouldn't have happened because that and really helped. And I thank you for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that has been something that has been a force and an empowerment for
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I always feel like whenever and there's this gratitude part to this, is whenever I felt down, that feeling of being down is because I felt like I didn't have any choices,
Yes. Mhm.
right? And I think that and really just opened up so many opportunities, and it empowers one too. That's a gratitude in having that little word and holding it inside.
Mhm. And also having a tribe of people that reinforces the ands and the gratitude and the possibilities, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
beautiful. What are you currently working on?
Right now, this is kind of funny, is I got into the PPE business. It just sort of happened. And
Mhm.
so we're doing mass. We're working on this product that we're really excited about. I can't really talk about it now because it's going into the testing phase, but we're really excited. But it is part of PPE, and it could really change. It's so good that it could change the industry. So we're
That's
really excited about it, and so we're just waiting until, like, they're doing a lot of testing right now. So that's right now we're working on, my partner and I. The name of our company is Galen Goods, named
okay.
after Galen, the physician from 200 BC.
Oh,
And
wow.
uh, and we also have an offshoot of that called Gigi Goods.
Okay.
And the Galen Goods site is up, galengoods.com. But Gigi Goods is coming up, and that's going to be a little bit more of a like quirky site. And I'm definitely going to be reaching out to Fred and you and Sam uh, with that site as well. Absolutely, it'll be coming. So
Yes. I can't
that
wait.
and I'm also consulting with startup brands for product development and production. So from
You know,
sketch to rack, I get
mhm.
it done. So
Yes, you do. Say that again.
from sketch to rack, I gets it done.
Yeah. You know what, Erica? I was thinking about you earlier because I work with a lot of clients like Joy Mangano and different clients that bring brands to market. A lot of times they work with celebrities and help them bring, or models or whoever, and bring their brands to market. Someone like you is an integral part
Right.
of that. You
That's
know,
that's
you know
right.
those whimsical ideas. You're able to go, well, that's great, but how are we going to make it?
Yeah. How are we gonna get? How is somebody gonna get in it?
Right.
It's like, where's your zipper? Where's your closure? I mean, that's like the funny part of it, but
It's beautiful. How has the time of COVID and BLM, how have you been able to feel well and self-care? What have you done?
wow, that is, now I have never been busier since this reset time. Like, I look at it as a reset,
Mm-hmm.
but I had like a reset time of like 2 days, and then boom, right back into like a new business sort of presented itself. So that's the Galen Goods and all this. So all this stuff started happening. But for me, as far as like self-care, I am taking my baths with the candle next to the and a good book, you know, I,
Mhm.
and my glass of wine. I am going for walks. I live in a beautiful area uh,
Mhm.
in upstate New York, and
Mhm.
um, and I just walk around the property. I walk out the door and go to the gorge, and so that's very mind clearing, and it's really beautiful right now because we're in peak fall foliage. So
Yes.
those are the things. I get myself away from it, and I mean
Mhm.
really away from it, and just like bring in the nature
Yes.
and self-care with the, go out and get a mani-pedi or that stuff, the simple little things that mean the world.
It really does. I was this guy, he works in production. He was saying, "How do you take care of your skin, D'Angelo?" And I was like, "Really, I have about 3 things I do, And I explained it to him. But what I wanted to impart to him was like, really, just take care of yourself, man. Just take care of yourself. That even though we're going through all of this, especially men of color and women of color, still take care of yourself. I know you and I talked about this earlier about being in beautiful areas, upstate New York or, friends in Long Island, et cetera, in parts of California that are gorgeous. And they're like, yeah, come over, hang out. Oh, and go for a run and go for a walk. That may not be safe for us,
Yeah.
It's safe. It's safe for them. And they think
Yes.
because it's an affluent area, you're fine. But you and I shared experiences where we didn't feel safe in those environments. So self-care, mental health, is paramount.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So tell me, what are you grateful for? I'm sure there's many things, but what are you grateful for?
Every morning I say I'm grateful for my family, my
Mhm.
friends, my
Yes.
husband,
Mhm.
and my life.
Yes.
Physical, mental, spiritual,
Yep.
emotional, just very thankful for that.
For it all. Yes, I agree.
Mhm.
Well, Ericka, I want you to stay with us, and we're going to come back for a round robin at the end. And how can we reach you on Instagram?
Oh, Ericka Mays. That's me
Okay.
on Instagram.
And then, and your website?
And my website is erickamaisandassociates.com, as
Mhm.
well as galengoods.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And we'll be right back. Brian, I think we should take a break.
Watch Live with Jesse and Melva right here on Soul Liberty TV every Sunday at 5:30 Eastern.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And now I'd like to introduce Fred Howard, a booking agent. Also, he works in PR, and we're going to talk a lot about that. And I want to talk about his experience growing up as a military kid. So welcome, Fred Howard, everyone.
Oh, hi. Thank you, darling.
Hi.
You.
Good to see
I
you,
didn't know you
Fred.
were going to ask me about being an Army brat. I didn't mean to wear this jacket.
Yeah, I was writing down questions earlier, and I was like, I want to know a little bit about, growing up as an Army kid, So let's talk about that a little. Were you born in the U.S. or outside of the U.S.?
I was born in the U.S. I was born at Womack Army Hospital on Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Which is near Fayetteville, which is off I-95. That's
Okay.
But I was born on Womack Army Hospital. So was Julianne Moore.
Mm.
I found this out many years later.
Mm-hmm.
So born on the Army base, and then we moved around from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Fort Wainwright, Alaska,
Wow.
back to Fort Bragg, Washington, D.C. So there was a whole little bit of a tour that happens when you're an Army brat. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a taste of American culture as well.
You do. I mean, one of the things that was amazing was being like as a child growing up, there was a hodgepodge United Nation of children around us. because you are on the military reservation, and so many of the parents are some kid has a German mother and a white father. Someone else has a Puerto Rican dad and a Vietnamese mom. So you have these beautiful mixes of people and cultures. And as a kid growing up in that, it's just normal that someone's mother that she speaks English with an accent.
Right, right.
It's normal, you know? And so I feel very blessed that I had that background, that I came from that place of being exposed to so many different types of people so young.
Yes. And I know you went through school and everything, and then you transitioned eventually into New York. How old were you when you moved to New York?
I felt like I was old when I moved to New York. I felt I was 25.
Okay.
I felt that I was old. And I had lived in Washington, D.C. I had studied theater. I had all these friends that were artists. And I moved to New York because I wanted to act and write. And I got here and I realized that I wasn't a very good actor, which takes a lot of gumption to be able to admit to yourself that you're not one of the best people in the room. So learning that, thank God for retail, because I was working at a retail store, Urban Outfitters, that was right in Houston and Broadway. I'm sure it's still there.
Yeah, I remember, yes.
And I was a manager, and it was working at this store with all these awesome kids, and we would have to do our own styling and merchandising of product. And Sun Studio was above us. And GQ at the time was next door with Detail magazine.
Oh, wow.
We have all these fashion people come in all the time. And once a stylist came in, asked me who did the layouts. And I said, oh, we do them ourselves. And she goes, you should think about being a stylist. And I had no idea what she was talking about. So I started assisting her. Because the only stylist I'd ever heard of was a hairstylist. And I was like, no one wants me to do their hair. And so she was beautiful. No, darling, I do clothes. I style fashion shoots. And I was just like, oh, really? That's a thing. So I started working with her, and that led me into this fashion vortex I've been in.
I know. And then when did Elite come into the picture?
Around the same time, we had done a shoot for Paper Magazine. There was a girl that we used who was at Elite. And I took the pictures. We got the layout back from the magazine, and it was like, this is the olden days. So someone had sent it over in a messenger, the magazine, before it hit the stands.
Okay.
Sent it to the photographer, and I made Xerox copies, and I took them to Elite to show my friend, who was this girl's agent. And as I'm showing her the pictures, the agent, John Casablancas, who was Elite and founded it.
Legend.
And he said, legendary John Casablancas was like, oh, are you a stylist? And I said, yes. And he asked me if I would style their model search. And I said I would.
Oh, wow.
And that became the long, that introduced me to the agency, because I wound up getting fired from Urban Outfitters. John asked me if I wanted a job. He offered me a job, and there you go.
How beautiful and organic that model search was huge. I remember it.
It was huge, and it was a lot of work. And it was interesting because I was so young and naive at the time that I did not think it was as big a deal as it was.
Yeah.
Because he was doing a show called Making of a Supermodel. We had Columbia Records and all these huge sponsors that were kind of telling us what they wanted out of this. And I was like this, I'd worked in retail. And so I thought that I somehow had some kind of genius, and I was going to tell them what we could actually provide for them. But it was interesting, and it was incredible because I got to meet so many wonderful people at Columbia Records in the music industry, and even deeper into larger brands and fashion. that have kind of guided me and assisted me along the way. So
That's beautiful. You know, it's interesting. One thing about New York, and I'm sure Ericka and Sam and everyone can attest to this, you're thrown into the fire. If you have ambition and you have drive, people see that and they go, you know what? I think you can do this here.
yes, and you
gotta
either
stick with
do
them.
it or you drown.
Yes.
And the options are, if you don't do it, you
Mhm.
have to go back to wherever you came from.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for me, I grown up after my dad retired, we stayed in North Carolina, and I love Fayetteville. My mom lives there. I was just there for 3 weeks. I love visiting, but I do not want to live there for my life. And
Yeah.
so for me, I was like, if New York doesn't work out for me, there are no options.
Mm,
No going home.
I get
And
that.
so I also am stubborn as hell. And if you tell me I can't do something, I'm pretty much gonna go out of my way to show you that I can not only do it, but I can do it really well.
It's like, watch me. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, watch me. Let me take off these earrings.
Right. Watch me.
All these. So it was that. And so I knew that it was being thrown into the fire. And it's like, okay, you have to figure it out. You have to make it work.
Wow.
Because
And you were
when someone gives you something in this industry, like when they trust you with something,
yes.
you have to, they've already trusted you. You have to make it work.
Yes.
You have to.
And I think what many of us didn't realize at the time, we were actually given millions of dollars in, inventory, property, whatever you want to call it, to really expand upon their business. We had all of this in our hands,
Babe, we were giving what some people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mhm.
to go to college to learn.
Mhm.
I was giving that for free. I was
Yes.
getting paid to do that.
Yes.
I showed up in New York and I suddenly had to realize that the acting career, you were no Denzel, buddy, so you better figure something else out. It was like, oh, okay. So you have to figure out something else. And I was surrounded by, I was open to it. Thank God I have two older sisters who consumed fashion. So I knew a lot.
Yes.
I rolled in and I also just enjoyed working with these women that I got to work with. It was such an incredible experience to be able to work with these ladies and then be able to work with the people that they work with, whether it's the makeup artists and the hairstylists and the different designers and the photographers and, having all those relationships. I was so blessed to have those.
Yes. How did you lean into the PR portion of it? Because I know.
Oh, again, I was forced. It wasn't even I was forced. It just became this moment of, D'Angelo, you've known me for a long time, and you know that I can talk the paint off of a wall, off of the side of a house. And I really like people, and I feed off of the positive energy of people. And when I was working at Elite, John Casablancas was kind enough to just push me and say, you should take care of these people. It was taking care of models. It was like the bigger girls. And then when I went to DNA, another big agency, they had incredible ladies there. The owner there also did the same thing. And when I was ready to leave, my father had passed away. And I was just kind of I'd been at Elite, I'd been at DNA for 7 years, which was really long because usually my window is 5 years before I try to figure out something else that I want to do. And I was there 7 years and he sat me down and said, have you ever thought about going into doing PR? Seriously, you've been doing it.
Yes.
But you haven't been calling yourself a publicist. So he was the first one to suggest that I do it. And then he kicked me out of the nest. And I I left DNA and I started my own company the same week that Hurricane Sandy hit New York and we lost power, and all these meetings that I had with all these models that I wanted to work with, none of them happened. None of them came to New York. I was freaking out for 3 months. That is the dumbest thing I've ever done. What have I done?
No.
And then the phone rang one day.
Yeah.
It was someone saying, can you meet with so-and-so? You used to work with her. She loves you. And we heard that you're on your own. And we want to see if you guys can work together. And that was Fred Thompson, who I've been working with now for 10 years.
Good. And I was going to say, you can drop some names.
No one wants to hear the name drop.
I know. But if Identity PR is your company, so if people want to really
Talent
PR. And one thing I know that this entails a lot of travel, a lot of hand-holding, a lot of contacts between many different brands and many different people. How do you manage?
I take lots of deep breaths.
Wow.
I breathe. No, it's true though. I mean, I just no, honestly, no. It's easy. It's not. It is easy. It is easy when you actually like what you do and you
yes,
people that you work.
Yes.
And one of the great things I can say is all of the women, and I need to knock some wood because this is such a broad, all of the incredible women I have worked with, I absolutely love.
Yes.
And that's Doutzen Cruz, that's Linda Evangelista, that's Natalia Vodyanova, that's Lindsay Ellingson, it's Adriana Lima, Carolina Krakova, all of those girls, Karen Elson that Sam mentioned her book. These girls, Lucci, I mean, all of them are just they're just a joy to work with. And you get to spend time talking to them and living with them. And that makes it really easy. Because I'm protecting, my job is to always make sure that they always look good.
Yeah, yes.
And that's the hard part, because sometimes people want to take the piss out of someone and they want them to snap and they want her to be a diva and they want to have a story about how she snapped. And they're not those girls. And I always feel that like so much of that energy sometimes comes from someone else.
It does.
They feel as though they have to be that. And so I feel that the ladies I work with know that they don't have to be anyone but themselves.
Yes.
And I always take that it's not ever about me. I'm really protective of these ladies. Like I'm protective of my sisters.
Yes.
Like I'm protective of the women that are in my personal life. These are ladies that I look out for. So yeah, liking them and liking what I do makes it very easy.
I would say that I've worked with a few of those ladies. Karen I've worked with and Adriana, and they both were more than lovely.
Thank you.
More than lovely. I worked with Adriana with Troy for a guest campaign in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh my God.
So child, we were on a plantation in Savannah, Georgia. Yes. Exactly.
3 of you on a plantation. I'm sure that was a blast.
Yeah, we did. We sure did.
I know, I can only imagine.
So I want to ask you 2 more questions and then we'll do the round table. But what do you do for self-care?
You know what I do for self-care? It's so silly. I like when this first started, I was having a moment of I've been going to the gym, I've been working out with my trainer, I was doing all this stuff. I was at the trainer like twice a week. And then when we got quarantined, we had to stay in, he sent me a list of exercises I was supposed to do. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do these every morning. Well, that's how that went. And so what I've been doing is when I exercise when I want to.
Mm.
It turns out when I don't feel the pressure to do it, I do it more than I want
Exactly.
to. I've been doing it a lot more.
Mhm.
I like to cook for myself.
Yes.
I also love laughing. So as everyone in the middle of the quarantine were finding, people I knew that were finding Breaking Bad to binge watch because they missed
Right.
it early, Mad Men and all these shows. I was like, I found the Mary Tyler Moore Show and
Mhm.
and let me tell you, it has been a party.
Yes.
Nothing brings me more joy than cackling off the top of my lungs and my neighbors having to text me and say, "What are you watching?"
Uh,
That is my second.
so
Cracking
the key is spreading joy. It's spreading joy.
giggling. Yes. Yes. Totally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. Thank you so much. Hang in there, Fred. We're going to do a roundtable with Ericka Mays.
Oh my God, Ericka, here we go.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So the question is, after November 3rd, what is your hope for our country? Any one of you can take this.
Oof. Well, my first hope is that the answer and the winner that we want is the one who prevails.
Okay.
I hope my dream of this country is that we, even if you don't agree with someone,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't understand where they're coming from, that you learn to respect what they're saying and what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Like, and in the course of a lot of the past few months, I've lost a few friends that I've just been like, listen, part of getting me as a friend is that you have to understand that I have my limits of what I will accept and what I won't accept.
Yeah.
Because I think that is something that we don't do. And that's part of self-care also, is
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself that list of things that you are willing to tolerate and not tolerate, whether it be family
Non-negotiables.
or friends,
Mm-hmm.
yes, or lovers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my own take was like, I cannot support or be a part of supporting anyone who can support divisiveness and hatred and bigotry and intolerance.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm very blessed that I have family
Mm-hmm.
that I don't have to go to at Thanksgiving, and I know there's going to be a crazy uncle there to talk about something. I mean, I think, and I don't want to be too grand in general, but I will because, whatever. But I think for the most part, a lot of brown folks, Black folks in particular, don't have a lot of relatives that are cheering on the person in the Oval Office.
Right.
And I know a lot of my friends that are not Black have family members that they have to deal with, and they are trying to figure out how to get around it. And I am like, I don't even have any advice for you because I can always give someone some advice on something.
Mm-hmm.
But on this, you're on your own because I don't know how you handling Uncle Jethro. I just don't know how you do it.
You know what, Fred? We've been up to the island. You and I have been up to the island. You know the island I'm
Yes!
talking about.
I love that.
Love the island. I had a conversation one year up there, and it was a very conservative person, and the person made a comment that it curdled my blood. My blood started to heat up, and you've never seen me upset or angry. I rarely get that way.
I don't ever want to.
So
I've known you all these years. I've never seen you mad. I'm good.
So my blood started to boil because he was trying to educate me on being Black.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, and using the African analogy, I was like, my friend, not today. So I went into the African history and I started reading, like going down African history with him, colonial history, systemic history there. And then I brought it to here. I said, now educate me on Blackness.
Yes.
That shut him up. So.
That's the thing. I mean, like, honey, I just don't know how, like, I can't even imagine an angry D'Angelo. I just imagine flames licking at this poor person and them not having a clue as to what happened.
And I just was like, and I try not to get there, Fred, because when I was a kid, I used to flare up, crazy, throw things.
See?
Yeah,
And now you're all calm and your
honey,
lady's all zen.
you find your namaste. You
Don't
have to
piss him off. It's namaste.
Ericka. Ericka, post November 3rd, what would you like to see for our country?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Fred said, and I would love to have a return of empathy because it goes back to what you said, Fred. It's like you people are so divisive, but they're not willing to talk. There's no conversation at all. And I sometimes find myself in that situation where I'm looking at something that is clearly not right. But, from the man in the Oval Office, his followers, they see that this isn't right, but they just, I don't know what that thought process is, but I do believe that we have to get into your brother's skin.
Yeah.
We have to get back to that empathy. And I find that, it's trickled down. Those people are not going to change because he's not going to change.
No.
Right. So, but that's what I pray that, when the new person comes in, that empathy, he brings that empathy, and that empathy is going to trickle down.
Yeah, and from the top down and from the bottom up, we have to have empathy for one another and be altruistic with one another. And my main thing, and I'm going to end on this note, I think about the children in the cages and detention centers. That I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews. I have godchildren, and I have many children that I love, and I can't imagine. So if people can start to put themselves in those bodies and in those parents' mind, looking for their little ones,
oh my God,
I think it'll be a much better Earth.
Oh my God, honey.
On that, I just want to say thank you to all of you, Sam Fine, Ericka Mays, Fred Howard, for joining me on Beauty and Gratitude, and have a wonderful night.
Babe, this has been so much fun.
This has been
Thank you for having me. Ericka, it's so good to see you. I look forward to hearing from you.
You definitely will, Fred.
All right, babe. D'Angelo, Brian, thank you.
Love you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Happy weekend.
You too, baby.
We thank you for watching Beauty and Gratitude with your host, D'Angelo Thompson, on Solivity TV, Fridays at 8 p.m. Solivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Solivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Solivity Magazine shows by going to solivity.com now.